After taking long duration loans such as the education loan or home loan, borrowers are often confused as to what the ideal repayment time of the loan should be. Should a new B school graduate aggressively pay off their education loan within 3 to 5 years, or should they let it run for 12 to 15 years? Should someone who has just purchased a house on EMI repay the home loan in 5 to 8 years, or should they let the loan run out its 15-20 year duration? When answering this question, there are some factors that can be quantified, such as your liquidity, your income, your expenses, etc. And there are factors which cannot be quantified: your comfort with credit, your future credit requirements, your future earnings, your emotional tolerance level of a loan, and even the interest rate cycle. For this video, we will majorly focus on factors that are quantifiable. To calculate the payoff between early repayment or increased investment, we will need the interest rate, which can be fixed or floating, the tax savings, and the returns you can earn on your investments. We will take the example of Hari, who is a 35-year-old professional with a rupees 60 lakhs home loan. Hari got this 20-year-long loan at 7% per annum. His monthly EMI works out to rupees 46,518. However, in case Hari wants to repay the loan in 8 years, his monthly EMI would be around rupees 81,802. For calculation's sake, we will assume the difference of rupees 35,000 per month. Hari's friend suggests him to pay rupees 81,802 per month and close the loan in 8 years. However, Hari's senior suggests him to invest this extra rupees 35,000 as an SIP in a mutual fund and build up an investment corpus. So what should Hari do? Basis quantifiable factors, Hari should compare the total cash outflow from both options and then take a decision. Now, for calculating the total cash outflow under both options, we will need to consider the following. Tax breaks. The principal repaid can be claimed as a benefit under Section 80C for a maximum of rupees 1.5 lakhs. The interest payment can be claimed as a benefit under Section 24B for a maximum of rupees 2 lakhs. One must keep in mind that these tax breaks usually change over the years. Return on investment. The SIP in equities or mutual funds will fetch him around 10% per annum. By historical standards, this is a conservative assumption as equities have been able to deliver 12% to 15% per annum across different time periods. However, being conservative does no harm to our calculations. Constant cash outflow. For the next 20 years, Hari will be able to pay rupees 81,802 every month from his pocket, whether it is towards the EMI, the SIP, or a mix of both. Any increase in Hari's income is assumed to be required for his evolving lifestyle and family expenses. Based on the above calculations and assumptions, here are what the final numbers look like. If Hari pays the loan over 20 years, he will be better off by around 51.45 lakhs. This number is on the assumption of a 10% per annum return on his SIP. If Hari is able to earn 12% or 14% per annum, then the difference goes up significantly. At 12%, the difference is around 98 lakhs, and at 14%, it is around rupees 1.61 crores. These figures are a little prone to rounding off error. Amount-wise, the biggest factors are interest cost and the value of the SIP. Although investors love discussing tax savings, it is not that big a component over here. Duration plays a major role in terms of both interest cost and the SIP returns. The longer the duration of the loan, the higher the interest outflow is. However, the longer duration also helps build up the SIP value. Think of it this way. An SIP of rupees 35,000 per month for 20 years at 10% grows to 2.31 crores, while an SIP of rupees 81,802 per month for 12 years at 10% grows to 2.12 crores. This is despite the higher investment of rupees 1.17 crores versus rupees 84.6 lakhs. Verdict. If I were to give a pure quant-based emotionless answer, then I would say let the loan run for long and keep investing in an SIP instead of prepaying the loan. However, you really need your investment to give you at least 10% per annum or higher for the calculations to work in your favor. Think of it this way. If you are able to borrow today at 7% per annum and earn 10 to 12% per annum over 15-20 years, won't you end up making money? However, we will leave behind some other factors that you should consider. Psychologically, how likely is it that you would first pay an EMI of rupees 81,000 per month for 8 years and then continue the same amount for another 12 years in an SIP without stopping? Would Hari be as disciplined as an investor? In case you are maxing out your cash flows towards loan repayments for the first 8 years, you will most likely have missed building up an investment corpus. It is not a very wise decision to not have any substantial savings or investments even while you are aggressively reducing your debt. Now, what to do with one time incomes or bonus income, etc.? Say 5 6 years later, Hari gets a one time income of rupees 10 or 20 lakhs from somewhere. He might still be tempted to pay off the outstanding loan as much as possible. Calculations, however, still show that investing this lump sum at 10% per annum is better than repaying a loan that costs you 7% per annum. There is one parting note here. If your interest rate on the loan is higher than 8.5% per annum to 9% per annum, then you would actually find merit in repaying the loan faster. This is usually the case for those who borrow from NBFCs at sometimes 11% per annum or who have not negotiated their old loan terms despite a fall in interest rates.